Workers' compensation insurance. It's required for most employers, but what is it? What does it do? Who does it cover? I'm going to explain these issues and more coming right up. Hi, I'm Gordon Coyle. Welcome to my channel where we talk about the risk and insurance issues on the minds of business owners. As an expert business insurance broker, these videos are intended to help guide and educate decision makers to help make you a more informed insurance buyer. If I don't answer the question that's on your mind that brought you to this video, reach out and let's connect. I'd love to hear from you. Oh, and if you find this video helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. All right, so workers' comp, or more formally, workers' compensation insurance, what is it? Workers' comp is a form of business insurance that covers the statutory or state-mandated requirements of employers to protect their workers from injuries or illnesses they incur on the job. The employer is the named insured on the policy, and the employer's employees are protected from the costs related to on-the-job illnesses and injuries. So what exactly does that include? It includes medical bills, medications, hospitalizations, surgical and rehab costs, as well as a portion of lost wages the employee may suffer while they're out of work due to an injury or illness. For the employer, workers' comp not only satisfies the requirement imposed by the states in which they operate, but it also protects the company's bottom line from having to pay these costs out of their own pocket. For the employee, it gives them a level of security knowing that if they're injured on the job, that the employer's workers' comp policy will pay for the costs related to that injury. If you already have workers' comp and you're struggling with the cost of it, I have a white paper that you can download on the 10 best steps you can take to rein in and control workers' comp costs. The link for that is in the description box below. You can download it for free. I'd love to hear what you think. Earlier, I mentioned that workers' comp will pay the injured worker for a portion of lost wages. The amount that is reimbursed is typically 2/3 of that worker's normal wages up to a maximum amount. You may be asking, why doesn't the policy pay for all the wages? And here's the thinking behind it, or the reasons. First, workers' comp benefits generally are tax-free to the worker. So partial wage replacement often is similar to the take-home pay the worker would have received in a normal paycheck after paying taxes. Second, partial wage replacement is supposed to incentivize workers to return to work and prevent something called overcompensation. If the system paid full wages, there would be little motivation for the worker to return to work since they could be pocketing more than their normal wages after taxes. Third, most states set these wage replacement rules and rates and maximums. When I say maximum, each state will adjust the maximum amount the wage replacement is. In New York, for example, it's $1,145.43 weekly in 2024. Now, in addition to covering medical bills and lost wages, workers' comp also provides death benefits to a worker's family should the work-related injury or illness be fatal. The amount of that death benefit will be different from state to state, but generally it's 2/3 of the worker's average weekly wages for the 52 weeks prior to the accident. So, what does workers' comp cost? The premiums an employer will pay are based on two major rating factors: payroll and the workers' comp class. In the workers' comp rating manual, there are hundreds of classification codes that identify what workers are doing in their employment. Generally, the bulk of employees are put into these class codes based on what the employer's company does, not the job tasks the employee does. For example, if the employer is a commercial baker, then most employees will be classified under the governing code of bakeries. There are certain employees that may be exempted out of that governing code, like clerical office employees, but most will fall into that bakery's code. What you won't find are class codes for a bakery that breaks down operations like dough mixers, bakers, cake decorators, cookie makers. In construction and contracting businesses, it is more common to see class codes that identify distinct and separate operations. Now, in each class code, there will be a rate that is formulated by the state the employer is doing business in, which is based on the actual history of claims and claim costs. The second rating factor I mentioned is payroll. So you take all the payroll for that class code, and that is multiplied by the rate to develop a raw premium. The raw premium is then modified by several factors to arrive at a final premium, which is what the employer will pay. Now, one big feature of workers' comp is that the policy premium is an estimate based on what the employer thinks the payrolls and operations will be for the coming year. At the end of that policy year, a payroll audit is completed to ascertain the actual payrolls for that policy year, and an adjustment is made. If payrolls are higher than the estimate, the employer gets an audit additional premium bill. If they're lower, they get a credit. Another big point I want to make here is that the actual cost an employer pays for workers' comp is highly determined on the claims they have. The better job an employer does to minimize claims from occurring and reducing the ultimate cost of claims that do occur, the lower the premiums will be for workers' comp. This puts a heavy emphasis on workplace safety and having a safe culture. The larger the employer, the more important these factors become. So safety training, safety programs, claims management, and safety committees are all critical factors in reducing costs. Now, having over 40 years of experience working with employers and sticky workers' comp issues, I want to take a minute and talk about some other workers' comp issues that I feel are important. First, there's no reason to delay reporting workers' comp claims. In fact, the sooner you report claims, the better. In most states, there's an obligation of the employer to report workers' comp injuries within 5 days of an accident. Studies have shown that late reporting of claims only drives up the ultimate cost of that claim. Number two, the employer must be involved in the claim process. This includes helping the injured worker understand how workers' comp works and how they will not be stuck paying medical bills. On top of that, the employer's active engagement with their broker in a claim often helps resolve issues before they become real problems. Number three, I mentioned that claims directly impact the cost of workers' comp. If you're not actively engaging in safety protocols, ask your insurance broker for assistance, as they are the best resource for help in this area. Number four, not all worker injury claims are fraudulent. But if you do suspect that fraud is involved in a claim, then speak with your broker about it. Now, I'm not talking about just being suspicious about a claim. I mean you have good reason to believe that there's a fraud involved. If that's the case, speak with your broker, who can broach the subject with your insurance company and have it investigated. Number five, posting notices. In most states, it's required that the employer post the fact that they have workers' comp and how an injured worker can report a claim. That posting notice should not be a secret. In fact, in conjunction with thought number one above on early reporting, employers should have an easy method for injured workers to speak with the HR or other responsible people in your department, in your company, about claims and injuries, and make that well known at safety meetings. There are a ton of other details I could include in this video, but I didn't want to make it too long. As I mentioned earlier, if you'd like a free copy of my 10 simple steps to reducing your workers' comp premium, you'll find the link in the description box below, and I'll send it to you right away. No obligation, it's free. Tell me what you think. Well, thanks for watching, and if I can assist with your business insurance, please reach out and let's chat. Thanks.